Before we created GameTree, we spent 1,000 hours thinking about algorithms, studying game design, studying human psychology, studying gaming market, and not that obvious, but theory of games.
If you're finding value in what you're watching, consider hitting the subscribe button and turning on the bell notification. Oh, and don't forget to drop a comment. I love hearing your thoughts and ideas. By the way, we have got a ton of other videos waiting for you. And if you are ready to level up your mindset, come hang out with us in our private Facebook group called Mindset for Business Success. Welcome to Super Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm your host, Shahid Durrani. Today we have with us Dana Sydorenko. Dana is a Ukrainian ex-military and war veteran. Forbes 30 Under 30 Europe, a serial award-winning entrepreneur and investor. Grateful to have you on our show, Dana. So GameTree, very intriguing. Now, can you share with us what exactly inspired this concept? I see that it has a touch of creating communities or socializing in a safe environment.
So I was a gamer all my life. And games, if you will think about it, it's a very natural way for humans to build connections, build relationship. Look at the kids, look at the animals. Leave them for 5 minutes, they start playing with each other. Because it's very social activity. It's activity that bring you together. You have common goal. So I met all my friends like when I grew up during playing games, and then I went to army. I served for a year when Crimea was occupied as a paramedic. And then when I get back, it was very hard for me to socialize. I couldn't fit back fully. I started playing more and more games, and I noticed how gaming changed. First of all, games move online. Kids nowadays play only online. And second of all, you have 3 billion people that was just throw on internet playing with each other. They don't have interaction before game. They don't have interaction after game. And then suddenly, because of this, gaming becomes super toxic. So I experienced it myself. You you're going through your own journey. Sometimes you have your own reason why you're playing games, and then a bunch of random people who never met you, who don't know you, just telling you go kill yourself. And I experienced a lot of toxicity as a female gamer. It's not the most friendly environment to female gamers. So I decided to develop the product to allow female gamers, to allow anyone not just playing games, but playing with people who will become the next friends.
And that's so important. My son, he's been playing for many years now, and he doesn't really share, but sometimes you'll notice that his mood is off after he starts playing. We asked, and he says, I'm not going into any kind of group environment. So it's been quite a long time now that he's not participating in any online type forums where people can communicate with him. He apparently keeps all that shut, or he changes the settings, whatever. But he's not engaging anymore, and that's unfortunate because there are good people out there too, and he can make some good relationships. But now he's holding himself back and not participating because of a bad experience or a bad seed that he had to deal with, right?
Yes, a lot of games do not allow people to communicate anymore because they don't know how to deal with toxicity. They don't know how
Yeah.
to fight with it. But if you will think about it, imagine, I don't know how many of our listeners playing games, but for those who don't play games, imagine if you go to some party and you don't know anyone over there, but also you're not going to see these people anywhere again. So it's like kind of meaningless interaction in a way, because it's lacking this repeated connections, because it's lacking social responsibilities, social layer on the top of it. And then add to this pressure from the game. And it's so easy to blame your teammate if you're losing. Oh, it's all someone's fault. And then it's just create
It's
all
always
perfect.
someone else's fault.
Yeah. It's created perfect setup for being toxic and do not have any long-term problems with that. So we wanted to change it. We have this theory that if we'll have more people on circle of repeated interaction, when it's not just random person, but it's friend of your friend, you already play with somebody else from his internal circle, people will be more thoughtful. They can, and also having feedback after the game. How do you like playing with this person? Sometimes it's not just a person is bad or toxic, it's just a wrong like mismatch. It just wrong people play together. And that's very common. So we measure that about 70 to 80% of people experience toxicity in gaming. So it's huge numbers if you'll think about it. But then when we see objective shit talking and insulting, the number will be around 8 to 9%. So a lot of people
Oh.
experience toxicity versus not that much people actually wanted to insult somebody. In a lot of cases, it's actually a very subjective feeling of I don't feel comfortable playing with this person. And it's all about matching at this point.
That's a key word there when handling toxic environments for your platform is how do you do it? That's what's on my mind. Like, how do you, because it's a challenge and it's a very important challenge. And to deal with this, it could be taken into many other environments where toxicity is a challenge, is an issue. Can you
Right.
share some strategies or features that GameTree has implemented to create a safe environment, an inclusive environment that could help someone out there with what they're doing?
Before going deeper, from the start, we took step back. So we look at the gaming, we look at not just gaming, but any kind of online interaction and try to analyze what could cause toxicity. So if you know the cause, you can try to prevent it. And surprise, we find out that for humans, it's very not natural and very weird to be in such a big social circles. So if you'll think right on your finger, you have billions of people who you can reach out. And on socials, it feels, oh, everybody looking at me, everybody judging me. So, but if you look how humans as a creature was evolved, we was evolved to live in very small social circles, like 150 people, 200 people. So one of our slogan is find your tribe. It's not about you need to be good for everyone everywhere because it's just physically impossible. During the human history, we was growing and we was born in small tribes where we know everybody, everybody knew us, and people was more or less the same because we share the same background, we share the same culture, we share the same language. Now, so many different people, so many, like everyone is over there. So we decided that big groups are uncontrollable and big groups are unpredictable and you cannot see toxicity over there. So if you take the whole bunch of people and then separate them to smaller groups where they could actually have time to find out about each other, they will have time to find people who they like. And the way how you put them in these groups is not also random. It's based on their psychology, based on their value. It's not necessarily based on their background or the same culture or something, though language is important. And time zone also, if you want to play together, it's also important. But more, how are we choosing our friends? Partner is simple, right? You're choosing partner because, oh, I'm attracted to him. Okay, it's also not that simple, but kind of you have more objective factors. It's based on appearance, somebody who's interesting to me. But what about friends? What criteria are we choosing to make somebody our friend? And there's actually criteria. First of all, you need to accept somebody as a person. You need to accept his value and see each other as a good person. It's the base. Second of all, we notice that repeated interaction, approximately 30 to 40 hours. Positive interaction, something fun that you're doing together, something that unites you, something that gives you common purpose. That's why gaming is perfect for friendship, especially as an adult. It's nearly possible to make new friends. But for gamers, this problem is slightly less. If you end up in a good group, it's much easier for you to make friends, because usually if you'll look back and all your friends, there was some third event, third something, hobby, school, university, wherever, that kind of force you to be together, force you to spend time together. And that's how you create friendship out of
Mhm.
it. So, couple factors. We look at very basic human instincts, how humans being functioning, and then use it to recreate the natural way of humans to participate with each other, to build connections with each other, and minimize all damage in a way that internet and technology created by making this like no barrier for everyone, no responsibilities for everyone. That was one of the main factors. Then we add analyzer, so we read super deep about humans' behavior, and then out of it, if someone's player style, communication style, their values, their personality, we created our AI that pretty much focusing on matching
Oh,
people right
cool.
now. Yeah, right now it's for games primarily, but it's also very applicable to many other things. Everything that includes more than one person. So teammates, co-working, all kind of things.
The gist of it is finding out the individual, how they're engaging with the platform and others, studying them, and then putting them together with individuals that are similar type, that you would feel, artificially speaking, that they will get along, like they'll be a good match. Correct?
Yeah. Yes. So it's about predicting with what
Hmm.
people can have the best
Interesting.
experience together. And it's not that much about a game by itself, but because we're focusing more on social layer, we think that um, you can have fun pretty much in any games if you play it with the right
Hmm.
people. It's
Hmm.
almost like
It's true.
traveling. If you
Yeah.
have fun with your friends, you can go and have the shittiest experience, but still remember
Hmm.
it as one of the greatest moments.
Yeah, it's just the energy matching and the vibrations. So you can't lie. You can be behind a screen, you could be thousands of miles away from each other, but you can sense and feel comfortable with someone. And that is super important, especially if you're playing a game, because it can get, depending on the game, it can get intense as well. You could be more accommodating with a personality type that you get along with. And any other aspect of the game that stands out when it
Mhm.
comes to the user experience that you could speak about and then share how did you come up with it?
Before we created GameTree, we spent 1,000 hours thinking about algorithms, studying game design, studying human psychology, studying gaming market, and not that obvious, but theory of games, which for me, one of my favorite topics to talk about. Um, and there's been experiment done. I don't know, do you familiar? Probably you heard about prisoner dilemma, where pretty much is a question about should I collaborate with somebody or should I be more selfish and choose my own interest?
No, I
For
haven't
those
heard
of
of it.
us, for those of our listeners who are not familiar with the game theory and prisoner dilemma, I will explain a couple words. Um, so you have two prisoner and they police catch them, put them in the prison, and if they gonna collaborate and not gonna share information about each other, both of them gonna have a year in the prison. But if they're gonna collaborate and give them their partner to the police, they will have zero versus their partner gonna have 2 years in prison. But if both of them gonna give police all information, both of them gonna have 2 years in the prison. It's not about prison, it's the problem that been described in game theory and bring to biggest level. What make people collaborate with each other versus pick their own selfish interests. When researcher try to represent it in computer environment and did algorithm that would go through the situation and represent human behavior, it's keep picking the same result. It's keep picking both of the prisoner will give up all information and gonna end up having bigger punishment. But if you will extract this to not just one interaction, but if both prisoner will know that they're gonna collaborate, they're gonna see each other after all, they're gonna have more of situation that can represent the same setup, the answer has changed. If they gonna see each other again, the answer gonna be that no one will collaborate with police because of this responsibility after all. And when they test 100 different behaviors to see which behavior will be better for longer term with different scenarios, different choices, different logic of computer logic. And they saw that time over time, all top 10 algorithms of behavior was collaborative behaviors. So for humans, it's super not just important, but also very beneficial to collaborate with each other if we know that there is future. If we know that we're not going to see this person ever again, we taking the basic from social interaction. I think it's very important to think the way how all worlds speed up. It's so easy to be an asshole because like wherever I'm rushing. It's not just about games. It's also you're driving car and you can let somebody
Hmm.
go. Or you can be an asshole,
Yeah.
and just that fact that that I'm never gonna see this person ever again in my life, changing whole your perspective and whole decision making process in your brain. Again, I going back to that humans need to have smaller social groups, smaller, deeper, where you can be seen by other people, and that's going to create positive interaction for all society.
Mm.
The same problem with
Mm.
the schools. If school is too big, it's becoming uncontrollable. It's becoming too separated with the social hierarchy versus if you go to smaller school, like 300-400 people, kids over there have much controllable environment and much like less reports of bullying and things like that.
Mm. Yeah. No, it's wonderful. Um, I'm very much impressed by the way you think. We need more of this out there in every type of industry and every type of product is building that relationship, because the more technology is involved, the more social media is involved. We do connect with each other on social media, but there's no deepness in it. It's very shallow, I feel, the connection. And what you're doing here is bringing human beings together again. And that is super important to, like you said, to the whole evolution of things. And it's wonderful. Can you share if there's a possibility for businesses to create an account and have challenges amongst each other and build communities where competing companies can play each other and also be social about it with the communities, if I'm making
Mhm.
sense?
Yes, I think that community is super important for businesses and business interests. Wherever you do, if you have this core, super loyal customers that can create this community around your product, it's very strong for your brand. And what we
Mhm.
notice, gaming specifically, companies that has a big social impact and big social layer, they have 2.5 higher revenue and they have around 4 to 5 times bigger stickiness and retention of their customers, which is
So,
crazy. I think a
so are you
lot of
doing it?
we measure it. We support different gaming communities as well. Right now, we
So
don't go.
businesses.
Yes, business
Yeah,
game
cool.
studios, game publishers, and all of that.
That's awesome.
One one of the things that we are doing is help new games being discovered by the next loyal audience. So we created what's called game promotional program. If you a new games, if you're a new publisher and you're looking for audience that will be perfect match for what you're doing because of We know super deep our users. We know their game preferences. We can bring your game not just to gamers, but to those type of gamers that will absolutely love your game. And I see it as a win situation because gamers always looking for some new favorite game to play with their friends. And if your game can be one of those, you automatically set up for a win over there. But any kind of business, if they looking for create community around their product, to look deeper into what problem the product solves and where people with this problem is, and create environment where people can share their experience, not just about your product but in general. Your product is more than just like making money. It's about solving something. It's about making world better. So you can think about it, how else I can make better, I can solve this problem. How else maybe you can organize some meetups for people who going through this, or maybe opposite, you can create some fun experience for people who, and just bringing people together and allow them to communicate with each other, allow them to see each other. For example, Red Bull is amazing example. This is a company that don't, it's very hard even think about the social layer that they created, but organizing the sports events and bring sports enthusiasts together, I think it's one of the brilliant business example of how can you create community around your product, and not just community, but community who share similar interest, similar hobby, and then make them super loyal to your brand and create very strong brand name out of it.
Wonderful. So, Dana, it was great speaking to you about this, and I'm wishing you all the best. Are you operating in multiple countries, or is it just one country right now?
So I'm originally from Ukraine. My first business was in
Yeah.
Ukraine, and I still sometimes helping them. I'm still on the board. I'm still owner, so I try to help them wherever I can. And we was working remote for a while. Now in the GameTree, we have very international teams. So our team is in 11 different countries,
Global.
global. Yeah. But me personally, I
Awesome.
spend a lot of time in the US.
Hey, that's great. Dana, it was wonderful speaking to you and learning about your product and what you have created. I'm sure this is going to add value in the market and with our audience. I wish you all the best. Continue to do what you do and let us know if we can help in any way.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm very open to any folks to collaborate, to support their journey, entrepreneurship journey, or help them establish their name in the gaming. Reach me out on LinkedIn. I'll be very happy to continue our chat.
Imperial opinions.